Welcome back to the common room.
Cheers.
As you'll cheers. As you'll notice, the two best-looking co-hosts are here.
Yes.
Matt is busy preparing to move his life to Washington D.C. So Andrew and I thought we would jump on and talk about an upcoming conference.
Yeah.
First of all, Andrew, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's we got through Easter and we're charging through that season. And the kind of big thing on my horizon, last year I kind of spent a lot of time thinking about what it means to be a priest. And this year I've been thinking about what it means to be in a church. As kind of part of the larger organization, because, as a priest, I'm changing hats all day long. It's, shovel a grave, go to the preschool graduation, talk to this parishioner, answer, I'm an HR director, I'm a mechanic, I'm, all of those things. So one of the things I seem to be taking on this year is projects and events. And so I organized the pancake supper on Shrove Tuesday with our men's Bible study. And a couple other things. I did the Lenten Quiet Day, and those went fairly well. And of course, as I've been blasting out all over social media, we've got a conference coming up, Mere Christians, a C.S. Lewis conference. And that's hosted at our church, at Church of the Messiah in Winter Garden. And of course, I know you'll put out all the links and everything. But the idea kind of came from my rector and came from some other folks in the diocese. Hey, I wish we could do an event like that here. And I'm like, no reason why not. And so the rector's been very generous about opening things wide up. It's my first time seeing a conference from this side, because I just kind of blow in and talk and collect a check. And now all of the details are falling to me. And so that's been fascinating.
Yeah, I remember the very first time I sort of put on a church event. It was actually for the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity, the one that St. John Giovanni Calabria was talking about all the way through Latin letters. Mm-hmm. And we put on a Tese service for all of the churches in town. We trained a choir from members from across all of the different denominations. I gave a reflection. We brought in other people to do some intercession, some prayers of the faithful, whatever you want to call them, and then put on a reception afterwards. And that was the first time I did something like that. And it's eye-opening. It's just like, wow, there's about 1 million things you got to do just to put together a little 1 hour service and reception afterwards. It turns out that there's a lot more that goes in than you expect.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we have a great culture of volunteering. Actually, one of our Pints listeners, our senior warden, Mary K. Predmore, heads up our Messiah's Way. And we have, they say normally in any organization, 20% of the people are going to do 80% of the work. Mm-hmm. But in our congregation, 80% of the people on our rolls actually show up to church regularly. And of them, 66% of them are volunteering. And we have kind of established this culture of, after you've been here a year, here are 500 jobs, pick one and do it for a year. And folks are great at that. And so I just kind of put out a call, and I've got a food team, and we're designing this wonderful Narnian banquet. And somebody donated great, beautiful kind of tableware to have, and somebody else is decorating the hall for the banquet. And then one of the parishioners like, oh, I love baking English sweets. And tea things. Why don't I be in charge of the scones and the trifle and the everything? And so people have just kind of been coming out of the woodwork, and so that's great. It allows our overhead to be really low. We're not paying our speakers much. Our speakers, Lazo Major is going to be there talking about Narnia. She'll wrap up the conference, and then Alan Snyder, a friend of our show and also a friend. We were in Romania together, and he's a parishioner in an Episcopal church about an hour away. So he's here in the diocese, and he'll come and talk about Screwtape Letters, and I'll do Mere Christianity. And so it's kind of an intro conference. We designed it for people who don't know Lewis and kind of want to know. Our wonderful children's minister, Deacon Angela Lopez, is doing a concurrent children's track. And so the watch Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and she's got activities and which Narnian character are you? And let's compare the Nicene Creed with the Narnian Creed. And she's doing, cooking from the Chronicles of Narnia cookbook. And so
Do some Turkish delight tasting and really disillusion some
That's
children.
Another thing on my list. I need to order some Turkish delight. Josh Bales, the marvelous priest and singer-songwriter from Orlando, was our musical guest at the Camp Allen retreat last fall. And dear friend, and I was hoping to get him here, but it didn't work out with scheduling. And so the day I heard from him, hey, I can't make it, Matt Wheeler emails me out of the blue and says, hey, I see you're putting on a conference. I'm going to be in the area. Do you want me to do some songs or sit on a panel? And I said, yes. So he'll come for Friday night and Saturday morning. And on Friday night, probably around 5:45, 6 o'clock, and we'll get information about this. He's going to premiere the song that we have commissioned. We at Pints for Jack commissioned him for a song, and he's got it in progress, and he'll debut that, and we'll live stream that for 10 minutes at the conference. So then I got some super exciting news. My wonderful bishop, Justin Holcomb, his daughter Sophia has been on, and he's been super supportive of my work in Lewis and my ministry. He's actually coming to the conference, which blew me away because bishops are busy. Yesterday morning, he was up at 3 or 4 to do a live webinar with the Lambeth Council.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and then he was in Wisconsin at Nashotah House speaking to the seminarians there. So he was.
My neighbor Holly Ordway was also recently there
at Nashotah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful! What did she do?
Tolkien.
Fantastic. So I was not expecting. I was just hoping he would tweet out about it, and he, of course, has so generously. But he signed up for the conference, and I said, "Hey, we're doing a panel called Why C.S. Lewis." It's kind of like my book, Mere Christians. You know, what has Lewis done to you? Why are you paying money and getting in a car to come and hear about Lewis? And he said, "Well, you guys know a lot more than me, but you know, if you give me a cigar, I'll do it." So he'll be coming. Some other clergy from around the diocese are coming. We finally kind of hit the numbers that'll make it, but our overhead is so low, we're able to offer generous scholarships. So our early bird pricing ends tonight at 11 o'clock, but we're still taking all comers. And we're up to probably, with volunteers, we'll probably be maybe 60 people so far. And that's still with one more week to go. So exciting. And fortunately, because we have such wonderful parishioners and great volunteers, and because the Holy Spirit has really been moving people and providing, it's not as backbreaking as I would have hoped. And I kind of went into it going, okay, I think I can probably do this, and let me just see what mistakes I make so that next time I'll find out better. But I think we still should be able to put on a pretty good show for folks.
And
it's
rather
still
crucially
to come down.
Well, I'm actually going to try and get this out today then, if your early pricing ends today. So I'm going to try and get this live and get our newsletter out today.
Great.
But what dates actually are the conference?
Yes. So today is Friday, April 19th. The conference is Friday night, April 26th. It's afternoon, evening, April 26th. And then most of the day on Saturday, the 27th. On Friday, next Friday, registration opens at 2. And then because the Lewis Foundation, Steve Elmore, and cheers to him, he's been a great help and great advice and lots of support. They'll often do kind of an early registrants session. So if folks show up, in the early afternoon, we want to give them some stuff before the programming starts. So we'll do a C.S. Lewis 101, which is where I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do an intro to kind of a book summary. So an hour of questions about Lewis, and then an hour of intro to Mere Christianity, Screwtape, and Narnia. And Kristen and Alan will join me for that. And then we'll go straight to a pasta dinner, and then we'll have our first session. And so after dinner, Matt will come on and play a few songs, including our Pints with Jack song. And then I'll do a session on Mere Christianity, and then we'll wrap up. And the next morning prayer at 8, and the conference starts out at 9. And we'll have lunch break, and then not a high tea, but a cream tea from
nice.
2 to 3. And I got lovely teacups and saucers, disposable teacups and saucers that just look beautiful. So, yeah, and then breakout sessions. We'll have a panel. David Vasiliou is the son of Denise Vasiliou from the Kindred Spirits Conference in Romania. And David just happens to be staying with Kristen Jeffrey Johnson for a while. And so I said, you're in North America. Let's see if we can get you down. So we're going to fly him down to spend a couple of days. And so he'll be here. And he'll help us out, and he'll give a talk on Lewis's reception in Europe and what Lewis has meant to Romania and to his life. And he'll help us out with a little sound. So a lot of things that I could not have ever forced are kind of bubbling into place. And so I'm just trying to be thankful and grateful to all of that. So yeah, still time. And even if you hear this on Saturday or Sunday and the $84 adult rate or $42 children's rate, that goes up. I think it's like 150, something like that. But if you need, if it's a financial concern keeping you from the conference, let me know. My email's everywhere out there, and we've got scholarships of various sizes, and we're happy to welcome everybody. You don't want anybody to miss it because of that.
And just on the subject of Lewis's reception in other countries, our intern just got me back the video interview about Lewis's reception in France, which was a lot of fun. And we're going to have an article going live this coming week. And it's wonderful seeing all of the covers. You've seen the discarded.
Sure.
Is it called the discarded image? It's a play on that.
A disordered image.
Disordered image. Thank you.
Yeah, Gordon Greenhill. Cheers to him.
And you've seen all of his covers, and those are the English ones. The French ones are also amazing. Plus, they also tweak the titles. So,
of course.
The Great Divorce is called something like The Bus to Heaven.
Okay. Wow.
And it's interesting seeing some of the tweaks that they make to the titles. Generally, I think they're better. Yeah. I love Lewis, but naming books I generally find is not one of his strong suits.
Doing what to books?
Naming books.
Naming them. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it was the publisher saying, no, we need a different name, or it's similar to this other book out here. But
he had a lot of struggle with that, didn't he? I think Horse and His Boy was originally going to be Narnia and the North. Mm-hmm. And Last Battle was Night Falls on Narnia.
And I also think that was better.
Yeah. None of the book titles contain the word Narnia. So yeah. Well, On, who's heading up that C.S. Lewis in France, France, was of course we posted a picture of her and have shouted her out. It was delightful to get some time with her in Romania, and I love the work that she's doing. So I think there's even a French article. Go ahead.
She's the one that I interviewed, and she's also got another project that is in the works that's going to be really exciting. I'm not at liberty to say what it is yet, but it's going to be really cool.
We'll wait till after the common room.
Exactly.
Well, and then we just last night, Kristen and I, y'all may have seen on social media, we posted about it. The C.S. Lewis Institute has been very supportive, and the one in Washington, Joel Woodruff, marvelous guy who's the president there, has been super great about having Kristen, and she's done a bunch of teaching and writing for them. And then we're in talks with C.S. Lewis Institute in Naples. Our dear friend Annie Nardone, to whom cheers. Annie is starting a C.S. Lewis Institute in Jacksonville, but they're going to open, I think, branches in Orlando as well. So we're looking forward to working with her. And then when we were in Chicago last fall, we finally got to meet Carl K.J. Johnson in person from CSLI Chicago, and had some great pizza and a nice pint. And so C.S. Lewis Institute Atlanta is having us in August to come and do a conference for them. But to kind of tease that out and to get some content, they had Kristen and me doing some of my stuff on our stuff on Eustace and discipleship. There's actually this great model of discipleship and evangelism in the silver chair. So they had us on for an hour for a free webinar. And that link is going to be out there, and it's a free download, and it'll be on their YouTube. So C.S. Lewis Institute Atlanta. I got a notice from Jason Lepo-Yarvi and crew, and one of my papers, yay, has been accepted to the Undiscovered Lewis. So Early Prose Joy is coming out, my paper about that. I've also submitted a paper about the deep and wide and serious mistakes in Joy Davidman scholarship, especially around their first meeting in 1952. And once we know the facts, it changes everything. And some of the way she gets characterized later is a product of real serious mistakes and misinformation. Sometimes well-intentioned, sometimes I think not so much. So I've submitted a paper about that, and they've accepted that provisionally if there's space, because they've gotten flooded with papers. So I'll be giving one, perhaps two papers. And are we doing any pintsy things there?
We're just going to hang out and have fun. I will have a lot of swag with me if people want to come and say hi and get something free. Speaking of which, actually, for your conference, there are Pints for Jack fridge magnets and Pints for Jack pins, badges, whatever you call them.
Yeah, buttons. Yeah, I've never seen the buttons before. And so, yeah, that'll just be on the table. Friend of mine from here in Florida, actually David Downing from the Wade Center, got us connected. And he loves antiquarian books. He's got a great collection, and he's come to me for a few things. And so he'll be coming out to the conference. He's going to give a little talk at one of the breakouts about collecting Lewis and why that matters to him. And he'll also run our book table. So we'll have Alan's 2 books on the table, Kristen's Family Guide. We'll have a few copies of Mere Christians out there. And then I'm going to bring a slew of the antiquarian rare stuff. And that'll be, I think, credit card sales only. But James is going to run that book table for us. So we'll have loads of stuff. Matt Wheeler has already drop shipped a huge box of stuff. So he's got vinyl and he's got T-shirts and bookmarks. And so he'll have a bunch of stuff. So it's going to be great. But I'm really
speaking of the Family Guide to Narnia.
Yes.
Hasn't that just reached yet another printing?
19th printing. Right. Dang. So, and it's, I think, coming up, it's 20 years old. Yeah. Actually, I guess it's 19. And so I think it came out in 2004, right before the movie. And so, yeah, cheers to Lazo Major for another printing of Family Guide, which still continues to speak to folks. So, yeah. Oh, we should take certainly microphone setups or something to the Undiscovered conference, and we should do drop-ins.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm planning on more of those lapel mics. You remember the ones that I sent to you?
Them.
I think
got mine still.
I think I will probably get a set as well. So just keep them on your person at all times. There you go. And so if we bump into anyone, it's like slap a microphone on them and have a quick chat.
Yeah, we should ask like a conference related or some kind of or a season 8 related question in addition to doing the drop-ins.
Yes.
So, yes, and I was talking about the drop-ins the other night on Tuesday. Thornton from Mere C.S. Lewis podcast had me on, and we were talking about Out of the Silent Planet, and we had a wonderful conversation about that. And after the recording, I mentioned, hey, that's something that we do, and it's been very helpful. And so I recorded a drop-in for him if he wants to use it. So, excellent. Yeah. And then I think since we talked, I was on Lesser Known.
Yes.
And we did
twice, both episodes. The other one dropped yesterday because I listened to it in the middle of the night after I'd gone on the chicken hunt.
Okay. Chicken hunt?
Yeah. Some context for people that didn't hear our earlier conversation. At 2:30 a.m. as I went and collected my crying daughter from her room to take her to her mother to feed, Marie went, "Oh no, I just realized I didn't put one of the chickens back after I took them out." And so this chicken had been out since about 6 p.m. and it was now 2:30. So we had to go and hunt for a chicken in the early hours of the morning. Chicken was found and in one piece. So we've still got eggs this morning.
Ah, lovely.
But yes, so after that happened, I listened to your second part of Meditation in a Toolshed with the Lesser Known Lewis guys.
Yeah. Okay, so they divided that up into 2. Yeah, what a great that essay still speaking to me. So yeah, so lots of fun things happening and doing some Northwind stuff. And then our conference last year, Still Speaking, C.S. Lewis's Theologian for the Third Millennium. We're pulling together our book proposal and getting final versions of essays. And so we're hoping to ship out a book proposal within a couple of months. And get a 200-page or so volume of some varying perspectives. Junius Johnson is in there, Karen Swallow Prior, Jane Williams, Bishop Patrick Augustine, Ian Markham, a famous ethicist and the dean of my seminary. Tricia Lyons is a wonderful evangelist and teaches evangelism there. And so a lot of different perspectives and grapplings with Lewis. And we had some real theologians in the room arguing about Lewis was really a theologian. And so we had some fun with that. So,
well, it was funny because that was the question that Amber Noel asked me when I was interviewing her. And she turned the microphone back and said, C.S. Lewis was a theologian, true or false? And I gave her a very Eastern answer, which she said, that wasn't what I wanted. I said, in the East we regard a theologian as one who prays. And we definitely know Lewis prayed.
Wow. Okay. Well, I would have gone for Loves and say, define and describe what you mean by theologian. Right.
That was where I went next when she was unhappy with my answer.
Well, and with Houston Christian University's cultural apologetics, I think that Lewis was doing cultural evangelism, cultural apologetics, early. And he was an evangelist for the good reading and trusted that the reading process would lead somebody to Christ as it did for him, or could do. So, and Amber Noel does some work for the Living Church, which is the Episcopal Church magazine. So I'm finishing up, hopefully this weekend, a review of Mark Noll's C.S. Lewis in America, and a marvelous look. And you know who the first kind of most ardent supporters of Lewis were in America? The Catholics. Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of funny because it's Catholics. The secular press really liked him, and in the Protestant world, it was all like, not really sure. Some Presbyterians really didn't like him because he went with a more classical apologetic approach rather than presupposition. But you guys eventually got on board. That's okay.
Well, I think that there was a reception and an enthusiasm. There was certainly praise and acknowledgement. And in some ways, and maybe this will make the review, in some ways, I think that the Protestants were perhaps had the most foresight in their reception of Lewis because they took him seriously enough to argue with him, right? And so they saw that he was a significant figure and didn't even bother about that. I took a written exam once, and when I went to do the oral part of the exam, the professor said, "Oh, your essay's so good, we don't need to talk about that," and then proceeded to pepper me for 45 minutes with all kinds of questions that I had no idea what the answers were. But they were, I think the Protestants were engaging with the ideas. And certainly he was formidable.
And I think also another factor was a certain amount of the anti-scholastic stream from the Reformation lasted longer, so that a lot of Protestant readers had been separated from at least the formal presentation of natural law, natural theology. Sure. As well as the Presbyterians having a very clear preference for everything is presuppositional. Whereas the God of the Bible, he's triune, and if you don't start there, you can't understand anything.
Right. There's also, although the Episcopal and the Anglican Church, the Church of England and its descendants, was a reformational church. It's a reformed church. It's not reformed in the way that it was on the continent.
No, and very different.
In some ways, because Anglicanism still is in some ways closer to Catholicism, I wonder if that helped the Catholics kind of recognize more or less one of their own.
And also just Lewis was steeped in the classics of in every sense of the word, and that had very clearly been maintained within.
Although, have you read Martin Moynihan's A Criticism of C.S. Lewis?
No.
He's Catholic, and I think he's passed. He's Catholic, but he criticizes Lewis for not being classically Catholic enough, especially in the medieval period. I mean, he kind of sees and Lewis wasn't, so that's worth your attention. It's a fun thing.
I'll take a look. I mean, even the enthusiastic Catholic reception that he got in the States, it wasn't that it was without any sort of criticism. It was mainly like, you're a bit light here, in your doctrine of the church. But
sure.
That's
what he says in the preface to Mere Christianity, right? For some people, I didn't talk enough about faith. For other people, I didn't talk enough about the church. But you look at his friendships, and his inner circle were mostly Catholics and Anglicans, and some of that's just demographic. But the objections that Catholics have and had did not forestall Don Bede Griffiths and Humphrey Havard and J.R.R. Tolkien and St. Giovanni and eventually Walter Hooper. And so a lot of Roman church folk got along well in Lewis's personal life. And so, I mean, I think that there's I think that the title for the volume from our conference, that he's still speaking, is certainly excellent evidence. So I did have a chance to, Patty Callahan blew through town for a one-night book event. And while we didn't get to go to the event, we had some things scheduled. We had a lovely lunch with her, and she, of course, is delightful. And I texted her yesterday was Joy Davidman's birthday, and Patty sends greetings. And I mentioned C.S. Lewis Reading Day, and she said, anytime I can do anything for you guys, you don't even have to ask. Yes, the answer is yes. And so, by the way, she and I are hoping to find somebody who wants to put on a Joy Davidman event with the two of us. So she's in Birmingham. There's a new canon theologian in Birmingham who's a Lewis fan in Alabama. But anywhere around the country, if you'd like to bring in a couple of folks and do a Joy Davidman weekend, we would love to do that. So that's kind of a dream of ours. But she's doing well and sends along greetings and is involved in some really exciting things.
All right, I'm going to send up the bat signal then at the next C.S. Lewis Day, which is shockingly close. I'm just sort of looking at my calendar and it's like, oh my goodness, the next one's coming up.
November 29th.
Yes. But also regarding Joy Davidman, I've got an interview with Kat Coffin coming out in Narnia month, and her Joy Davidman play seems to be getting traction. She's already got approval from the C.S. Lewis Company.
Great.
I think they've already got an actress for it, and it's basically a follow-on to Narnia, and basically what happens with Susan.
Oh, good.
And particularly in the wake of nearly all of her family dying. And
I
know that the opening line
story,
is,
right?
Nobody ever told me that grief felt so much like fear.
Oh, wow.
So I think she could be doing some rather wonderful stuff in that.
Yeah. I've chatted with her some, and we've done some Joy Davidman work together. And so I'm looking forward to seeing her success. And she's also doing a paper on Joy Davidman at the Undiscovered Lewis conference. So I'm looking forward to getting more time with her.
Oh, cool. I told her that she should. Okay, that's good.
So no, she got accepted for that. And Jordan Duncan got accepted for that from Lesser Known Lewis.
And also Joseph Weigel from the Men with Chest podcast. He's also going to be there.
Whose podcast I did. We talked about That Hideous Strength, chapter 13, a little bit ago. Charlie Starr is coming. This is going to be a real gathering of the tribes. And so if you've ever thought about going to a Lewis conference, this would be the one to go to. They've got incredibly top tier folks, but a lot of the second and third tier, like myself, they're going to be flooding the halls, and it'll be like the Montreat event, the first one that you all
was so much
went
fun.
to. Yeah, so it should be fantastic. But looking forward to Kat's work and to seeing everybody. So good.
Well, we've really covered everything.
Yeah.
So last time, when's your conference?
Mere Christians, C.S. Lewis conference, Friday, April 26th. Registration opens at 2. Programming starts at 3, and it goes until about 8 o'clock that night. Saturday, all day, morning prayer at 8. Music with Matt Wheeler at 8:45. Keynote sessions from Kristen Ditchfield-Lazo, from K. Allen Snyder, and myself. Breakout sessions featuring local clergy, Matt Wheeler, Bishop Justin Holcomb, Some others, a breakout session featuring Sophia and Madeline. They're giving a paper on the 4 loves in Narnia, and it's their first conference paper. The two of them are 32 years old combined, and they're killing it. They and Kristen and I had a Zoom meeting the other day, and it was just they're remarkable. A children's track running concurrently, so it's not babysitting. They're going to get really good content and activities that relate to C.S. Lewis. Perspectives from around the world, and so April 26th in the afternoon. And April 27th, all day, ending with a great Narnian banquet with roast beast and Furor's
of the non-talking variety.
What's that?
Of the non-talking variety.
Yes, no talking cows on our menu, and English trifle and an English cream tea, and yes, so a lovely thing. And $84 is the adult price, and $42 is the children's price for the early bird. So that expires tonight, but we can work with you. And we just hope that anybody within reach of the Orlando area can come.
And plenty of pints of Jack swag given away for free.
Plenty of pints with Jack swag. And yes, we might actually have to drink a pint or two with Jack too. So
wonderful.
Great. Well, thanks for the time. Great to get caught up. Glad that the chickens and the eggs are fine. It looks like you finally solved that debate. The chicken came first and then the eggs.
Exactly. And unless you're talking about dinosaurs, in which case the eggs came first. But
you said
chickens are also dinosaurs. It's complicated. We'll talk about it another time. Join us then.
All right.
We'll go further
cheers to everybody.
Further in.
Further up and further in.